Hello everybody, this is Albert with Green Tea House. I hope you're doing well today. Today we're going to talk about one of the most famous and unique oolongs, Oriental Beauty, otherwise known as Baihao Oolong, otherwise known as Champagne Oolong, otherwise known as White-Tipped Oolong. Now before we begin, if you appreciate tea or like tea, I would highly recommend you check out our back catalog of episodes. Also, I'll put some episodes here that are applicable to this one, like what is oolong tea? Also, please subscribe if you haven't done so already and post a comment. So, as I mentioned, this oolong is very famous. And the reason it's famous is because it has a unique thing that happens to it that I would say only happens to a couple other teas. So, I've mentioned in the previous episodes about what is oolong. Oolong, I would say in the 6 categories of tea, is kind of in the middle range, where there's a lot of range on how it can be prepared by a tea master, so you can get more lightly oxidized oolongs. Famous ones that we would sell would be like Alishan or High Mountain Taiwanese oolong. You also look at something like Frozen Summit as another well-known one. And then you have more darker oxidized ones, and I would say this one, Oriental Beauty, would fit there. Iron Garden of Mercy oolong would also fit in that category in the darker oxidized. And the way that they prepare oolong is one of the more labor intensive and one of the more unique ones. So they do pluck the leaves, and then one of the more unique things is they're going to bruise the leaves, but just enough, but not enough to where it's going to become fully oxidized and be black. But the tea master knows exactly how to bruise it to get it to the kind of the profile and oxidation level they want. And the most famous way they do this is kind of rolling in these tumblers, and then they'll put them in these cotton things that wrap them. And one of the things that also happens when it does that, in addition to tumbling it, is that it makes them into these little knots. So Oriental Beauty or Baihao is no different in how they prepare it as well. Now, what makes it unique is the leaf hopper. So there are these little insects called leafhoppers that will jump on the Camellia sinensis plant, this plant that's grown in Taiwan, and they'll start nibbling on it. And the nibbling on it, the plant responds to that nibbling by releasing some juices. And these juices make the tea that comes from it very unique in its taste profile. And that's what makes this tea, Oriental Beauty, so interesting. So in terms of flavor profile, and this is one of the reasons, one of the names for Oriental Beauty is the champagne of oolongs. If you've been watching these and taking notes, you'll know that the champagne of black tea is called, or is famous, that moniker is famous for Darjeeling black teas in India. And the reason why these are both called the champagne of oolong, Oriental Beauty, or the champagne of black teas, second flush Darjeeling, is that both of them, they use this leaf hopper to bite on it to get this certain taste profile. And so when you drink Oriental Beauty, you're going to notice it has a very similar flavor profile to second flush Darjeeling. Second flush, not first flush, second flush, which has that muscatel taste to it, or a grapey taste. So when you drink Oriental Beauty, this tea, it does have, I would say, kind of a peachy taste, but also a grapey taste. It definitely has a sweetness to it that is very unique to the oolong family, and so it makes it great. Now, if you look at the tea leaves dry, you'll notice that there's a little whiteness in it. So what happens is when the leaf hopper bites on the leaves, the leaf responds by beginning to oxidize. So normally when the tea plant starts to oxidize, it's after we've plucked it. It's after we plucked it. But what makes this one unique is that it starts to oxidize a little before it's plucked because of the leaf hopper that's biting on it. And one of the results of that is that you'll see the tips of these leaves be kind of white. That's why it's also called white-tipped oolong. Now, how should you prepare it? I'd say, like a lot of oolongs, 185 to 195 Fahrenheit. As you see, kind of has a very nice golden liqueur to it. It's beautiful tasting. And I would probably steep it for about 2.5 minutes, and then you can re-steep it like all these leaves a couple of times to enjoy the full taste. So in review, Oriental Beauty, dark, somewhat darker oxidized oolong, has a very peachy grape taste, and is famous for being nipped by the leaf hopper. We will sell this at the store, and we will sell it online because it's one of the, I would say, top 4 most famous oolongs on the planet. Guys, post in the comments. I would like to hear from you. Until next time, take care and God bless.